Strategy focuses on three things to help people get ahead. One is economic opportunities. What are the types of jobs that are in Peel, available in Peel? What type of work? Is it precarious work? Is it minimum wage work that's accessible to people? And we talk about things like living wage. Anyone know what the living wage in Peel is?
Yeah, 1845. 1125. 1876.
So I'm going to talk about, so a living wage, there's lots of discussion about the living wage, and that's what the province says. That's the thing you've got to pay, you have to pay, all employers have to pay. It's the minimum income, or minimum hourly rate. A living wage is what it costs in order to be able to just meet your basic needs, okay? So economic opportunities is one issue. The other is income security. So Ontario Works, social assistance, disability, OAS. What rates are those giving or offering to people who need them? What supports are being provided through those systems, and is it adequate or sufficient? Okay, so that's the second thing. And the third thing is well-being and inclusion. Do I feel like I'm a part of the community? Can I afford to take transit? Right? So in response, the Peel Poverty Committee, which is made up of residents, and we invite all of you to join us, residents, the school boards, local government, lots of government alone can't solve the problem. Residents alone can't solve the problem. So what do we do collectively to really have an impact on a very complicated problem? And so one of the things we've done, of course, is we advocated to both the City of Mississauga and Brampton for affordable transit. And I'm pleased to say that as of May of this year, there is an affordable transit pass that both Regional Council and Local Council approved. And in Mississauga, that pass program exists for more than a year. I'm going to turn it over to Craig now to just quickly talk about the food charter and food security. And that's the second big initiative that we have been working on. So thank you.
So I will explain. So a subset of that work around the idea of poverty reduction is that everybody has a right to food. So the food charter is essentially trying to work as a community to that goal so that everybody has access to food, whether we're talking economic, physical, all those different aspects that make it so that people can get the food that they need, that is acceptable to them culturally, socially. It's in locations where they can get to by transit. It's healthy food that's available. And within this food charter, this was a 3-year process. Over 700 people participated. There's 3 rounds of consultations, many things like this, forums, online, etc. And in the end, we landed on about 6 major areas of goals. So on the inside, it kind of categorizes those in ways that we can work together as a bigger community. So essentially what we're hoping that the candidates will do is read this over and endorse that bigger vision, that everybody has the right to food. Everybody should be food secure in Peel. So that means having dignified access to food essentially. It requires income, it requires planning, but it's working towards that goal as a community. I think that's a good cover for now, basically what the bigger strategy, the poverty reduction strategy is about, and then this is fitting into that goal, but specific to food as a community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I love it. They're still within their time. Okay. So now I'd like to invite the candidates to please basically introduce yourselves, tell us which board you're running for and why you're running. So give you the mic.
Leslie Jackson. I don't want to say I'm the only person up here who had this experience growing up. I don't know. But I can tell you that I grew up the youngest of 3 boys with a single mother who was disabled, a disabled hairdresser. There were plenty of times in life when my mom just did what she had to do. Whether it was welfare, whether it was illegally renting out the basement to people, didn't matter. She always did what she had to do to get us some food. And I took jobs washing dishes in Italian kitchens so that I could take food home. Then I got a job in a pizza store because I could take the leftover slices home. I put myself through university, working full-time, going to university full-time. And there were a lot of times when what I ate every day was Kraft Dinner and chicken dogs. And then I went to law school at the University of Western Ontario. And the guy I sat beside in my first year contract class drove to class in a Porsche. Yet he was in the same OSAP line as I was. There are things about our system that need to be fixed. They need to be fixed federally, they need to be fixed provincially, they need to be fixed municipally, and that's why I'm running for mayor. I grew up in social housing, we used food banks, and now I want to build that stuff for other people. Thank you.
Well, I want to start off by signing this food charter, which I've now signed, so I'll give it back to you. I want to be the first candidate to happily do that. Secondly, I want to say I think it's great that this discussion is being put on tonight. I think any strong community is judged on how they take care of the, those who need a hand up. And sparking this conversation, I think, is an important part of this discussion we're having in this municipal election. I've tried to contribute ideas of helping those in need. One of the initiatives that we've already launched is the advocacy to double the low-income dental program for seniors. That's a commitment we made during the campaign. We announced a poverty action plan that we released with Ted Brown, who runs Regen at Grace United. I remember going to Grace United and seeing 175 breakfasts they serve a day, and seeing the need in our community. You can't go there, you can't volunteer and not want to do more. And so I'm glad that this conversation is being sparked, and look forward to working with you to do whatever we can to combat poverty.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Farquharson, and I'm running for City Council for the wards of 9 and 10. My experience is that I grew up in a home with a single mom and 2 younger brothers, and she had a hard time getting by. She actually was a general laborer. She worked long hours. Even in that time, I had a part-time job where I worked at a grocery store. And even with that, the income wasn't sufficient to support the household. And so she was also a social assistant. And we lived in a deplorable housing community, and most of the residents there went through the same conditions. I was kind of successful in the sense that I was awarded a full scholarship to study in the US after excelling at academics and also volunteering throughout my community. And I used that as a stepping stone to say, you know what, here I am starting at the bottom, but as an inspiration to other young people that, you know what, it doesn't matter where you start, it's where you're aiming to go. And don't let anyone tell you because you're poor and because you do not have the resources to do what you need to do, but rise above the conditions, rise above your situation, seek the help that you need. And believe me, once you do that, governments, they need to step in and support you, and that's why I'm running for City Council, because we need to support our youth and those that are less fortunate than we are in an economic deplorable condition. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for attending for this United Doubles program, which it is asking for about the poverty. My name is Mansoor Amir Sultan. I am running for mayor candidate, Brampton. First of all, I received a letter from Tough Time. That is about the poverty. About the poverty? What is you are thinking about? Then I was read what is going on here. I saw the reason here is very increasing. Every stop sign, we can see somebody is asking your help. but it is increasing its last couple of years, it is too much. We have to be, because the right to live this country, Canada, so we have to do something for that. So I was the answer. I will just do my best for to going with the municipal, regional, and provincial, and federally we wanted to be fight for that because the food banks are rapidly growing in the city. So that we need to do something. So I will coordinate with whatever the help I can do. I will do my best. Thank you.
This is a good time to ask you to please turn off your cell phones. Thank you.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody to come to Knight's Table tonight, because this is an extremely important situation that we've been dealing with for many, many decades in Brampton. By the way, my name is Jim McDowell, running for Wards 2 and 6 for City Council. I have worked for many, many years with Edna and Knight's Table to try to bring the issue of poverty to the head of the issues that we've been facing in Brampton. I was the past president of the Peel Regional Labour Council, and I have worked with Tough Times, with Knight's Table, and of course with United Way in bringing this very, very important issue up. It's hard to believe that we're in 2018 and the need for food security is more important now than it ever is in the past. So I will be endorsing this sheet. I've already signed it. I have signed, sadly, many, many other sheets like this in the past. But we really need to have a city council that actually work together to make sure that this issue is brought to the forefront. Thank you.
Good evening, folks. Hi, my name is Josephine Titangelo, and I want to thank the PPRC, Tough Times, PPAG group, and Knight's Table for hosting this event. I'm a registered social worker. I've been so for over 30 years. And I have worked all my life with injured workers and the disabled. And I have gone through many governments, provincial and federal, arguing for not only the issues of poverty, but also what's been happening to the workforce. And yes, precarious work is dangerous and quite honestly is illegal. And in some workforces, in some companies, just shouldn't be doing that sort of thing. But then again, that is something that we should look into for legislation. I have signed your vision, but this is not simply to say, hi, I've done this. No, it's a little bit more important than that. I am also a donor with Knight's Table. I've been with Knight's Table for many years. And Lena, I promise, I'll stop. This is a great community, and it deserves a lot more than what it's been getting, and I want to fight for that.
Hello. I will start by asking each and every one of these candidates, when was the last time you've been to a food bank? For me, it was just last month. So I am from the people, for the people, and by the people. My name is Princess Boucher, and I am running for Ward 1 and 5 of Brampton. And so I will say that track records will show how committed I am to the community. I have worked in the community. I've advocated against violence, the young people, women, and shelters. I have fought for that in the community. So I am there. I understand the needs of the people, and that is why I am committed to advocate for each and every one of you at the City Hall. I know what it is like to know who my representative is, who I need help, being in a shelter with my children, and there is no one that says that they will run from me or be my voice in City Hall was ever there for me. I am there for you. Vote for change. Vote Princess Boucher, October 22nd. I am your change.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mokshi Ver. I'm running as your city councillor from wards 7 and 8 in Brampton. I'm a founder director of a non-profit organization which we set up 6 years ago, again, to help newcomers, women, and youth in particular. I have been actively involved in volunteer work with Kerabram, MS Walk, Langar Seva, another organization that caters and actually helps seniors with health condition with food, dinner, and meals for a week. So I've been actively involved with some of the non-profit organizations. My priorities include the advocacy for anti-poverty and homelessness. I would like to create some more special recreation hubs for seniors in wards 7 and 8. I would advocate for offering more skill-based trainings for youth and definitely freezing property taxes. I understand the vital role the businesses play in a stronger economy and creating jobs. I'm running because I will bring the voice of diversity to the council. As we all know, Brampton is made of diverse communities, and I want to be your voice there. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Martin Medeiros, seeking re-election for Regional Council Wards 3 and 4. I was the Chair of Human Services at Peel Region. I was distinction with the directors of my colleagues and supported. I'm also Regional Council Rep at the Peel Poverty Action Table, and I had the pleasure to previously sign the food charter. We know that poverty is multidimensional. We know that majority of our most vulnerable money, salary goes towards housing. And since I've been at the region, it's been a frustration that we simply manage lists. We manage a waiting list, and we have to change the way that we address housing. We've implemented a 10-year housing strategy. Second, transit. It was my motion that lost by 1 vote at the City of Brampton when we were trying to bring LRT, which wasn't just simply transit, it was a socioeconomic issue. We had transit dollars on the table, spin-off benefits, community benefits, and it was rejected by a council. Those are the issues that I come back to fight for. Brampton's first youth homeless shelter. It was my first initiative, my first action on the second day being elected was write a letter to my MPPs asking to support provincial support for youth homeless shelter. Luckily, we got it done 2 years later. These are the type of initiatives I've been passionate about, and I want to continue to be an advocate and a voice for our most vulnerable. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lisa Pierre. Thank you for having me today, Night's Table. We grew up with my mom telling us, there goes I, by the grace of God, not me. So we grew up doing. We didn't go around and say, hey, can you help me? My mom would gather us all up to go help everyone. And I still have that in me. I will always help. I will never see anybody in trouble, especially young people. We have to be strong in our voice. We have to let everybody know when I'm on City Council, this will be done. I'm going to fight for you young people, especially young people, and everybody in this room to understand that poverty is not okay. We need to fight. We need to stop saying, oh, we're going to have a meeting here, a meeting there. We need to just gather our stuff together, and we're going to have 1,000 cans. Everybody gets together and put 1,000 cans together. That is old school. We need to go back to those days where everybody is fed. Thank you.
Hey, good evening, and thanks to everyone for coming out this evening. I'm Bruce Marshall, running for Regional Councillor in Ward 7-8, and I hear that we have a bit of a discussion going on here tonight, so I'd like to add something to the discussion. I'd like to propose a Peel Region Summit on homelessness, poverty, and the opiate crisis. We deal with these things in a piecemeal fashion. It's time we tackle the whole problem now. If we were truly to deal with homelessness, poverty, and the opiate crisis, we deal with related issues like gangs and violence and many other social issues. I know that in the case of downtown Brampton, we deal with the real concerns of hundreds of downtown Brampton property owners who aren't even in the ward I'm running for. In addition to the humanity of dealing with these problems, a society is measured by how it treats the most vulnerable among them. Good politicians, good community leaders are measured the same. My friends, we are wanting in this measure. And if I am fortunate enough to be sworn in as a leader, as the Regional Councillor for Ward 7-8 in Brampton, I will make this a personal priority. On homelessness, poverty, and the opiate crisis, we have to move these problems forward. This does not have to be the reality for so many people. We will be more civilized humans by treating this as a real serious problem and finding solutions to it as soon as humanly possible. I'm Bruce Marshall. running for regional councillor in Ward 7-8, Brampton. Let's make a difference.
Wow, follow that. Jeff Bowman, City Councilor, Ward 3 and 4, seeking re-election this year. And the Knights Table, everybody knows, I've been involved here for a very long time, even before I was a City Councilor. And the fact of the matter is that about 78,000 people in this city go to bed hungry every night and wake up and do not have food. 1/3 of those are kids. 1/3 of those are kids, and 1/3 of those are seniors. And that is absolutely atrocious. We did a food drive for the St. Louis Outreach Center, Salvation Army, St. Andrews, Regen. We did a food drive for them, and we brought in 96,000 pounds worth of food over 3 days. And I was talking to Ted, and I said, this is great, eh? 96,000 pounds. And he said, yep, that's going to last us about 2 months. 2 months for 96,000 pounds of food is unacceptable. I also was one of the initiators with Councillor Willans of one of our first community gardens here at the Senior Center, where we also had people working. The City of Brampton has thousands of pieces of orphan property that could be turned into community-safe food security gardens so that everybody here has a chance to live, to eat, and to grow properly. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Shannon Iyer, and I'm running for regional councillor in Wards 2 and 6. I am the son and actually an immigrant that came into Canada, so I've seen a lot of things being an immigrant. Speaking from the heart, really, because I had different things prepared based on questions that were provided to me, but it seems like none of us are talking about that. So I just want to assure everyone that I have seen and been affected by poverty myself. Being an immigrant coming into this country, my mom worked hard. I was in school, and there were times that we didn't know what we were going to have for dinner. So I feel terrible that there are children being affected in this country and in this community that go hungry. There's adults that do that too as well. They don't know what to put on the table for their children. I know poverty and homelessness and everything else is all linked together, and that together signing this paper is not enough. We need to do more. We need to work hard at providing the necessities of living to people and ensure that we have a living wage that everyone is accessible to. So thank you very much.
Good evening, my name is Vince Citriano. I'm running for Catholic School Board Trustee in Wards 2, 5, and 6. I had prepared a speech, and what I decided now to do is to actually talk from the heart and just let you know that there's more poor people than there are rich people, right? Poor people, get out there and vote. Vote in your interest what is important to you, not what is important to the rich people. Tax cuts, making corporations richer, forget about that stuff, right? You've got to vote in your interest, meaning education for your children. We have to improve that. We have to improve the conditions that we're currently facing as poor people, in terms of feeding our youth, housing the people that require housing. That's just going to meet the gap that we have. It's our children that we need to educate and get them out of the cycle of being poor. Thank you.
Thank you, Nice Table, for all of us here. My name is Seema Shah. I'm running for Wards 3 and 4 as a school board trustee for public school. My background is in healthcare. I'm a speech language pathologist, and I work with children day in and out. Since last 16 years, I've been working with children with special needs. And I do see families who are struggling to provide services, therapy, food, kind of stuff for their children. Because government-funded programs are very far and few in Peel region. The gatekeeper, for example, is Erina Kids here for Peel region. But the waiting time to get that services is so long. So we need to make sure that we have to advocate for them. Did you notice that every 1 in 59 child is diagnosed with autism? And there is no plan in place when they will be adult, when they go into grade 9 to 12, how many vocational centers programs do they have? There's no life skills training given to them. When they become adult, they will be a burden to the society, which we do not want. We want them to be a part of the society. So we need to work together so that we can make that change. And from Ward 3 and 4, I will be your voice, and I will take it to the Education Board. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kathy McDonald, and I'm currently the trustee for Wards 3 and 4. And I'm running because I believe that education is the way to solve just about every ill in society today. I grew up in a life of privilege in Jamaica. My parents had a staff of 8. However, I saw my parents make sure that each member of their staff, their children, got an education. They never paid the measly low income wage, minimum wage in Jamaica. I've seen them take a girl from the streets and educate her. Today, that girl has a PhD. She graduated summa cum laude from university, a productive citizen in society. As a trustee, because of a motion I put on the floor, the board now has this report, Poverty Indicators. I am committed to making sure that we have high expectations for all kids, and we hold ourselves accountable to make sure our kids get the first-class education that they morally and legally deserve. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashman Krod, and I'm running to be your next school trustee in Brampton Wards 9 and 10. I decided to run this year in February. I didn't have a long-term plan. I decided to run because I wanted equal opportunities for all students. And at this time, there are students that are being left behind for many different reasons. Today, one of the issues that we're talking about is food. This issue should have been dealt long time ago. It's 2018. And the fact that there are thousands and thousands of students, seniors, and community overall residents that are still not getting food on their table every day is a huge problem. So you need to elect someone who will take concrete actions on the board, the city council, and school board. So when you go out to vote on October 22nd, look at everybody's platforms, look at their plans, and look at the fact that if they can actually do what they say. And I will actually tell you that I am a type of person that does what they say. So I'm telling you today, here, right now, that I will make sure when students come to schools, whether it's elementary schools or high schools, that they get food in those schools if they don't have enough food at home. Whether it is from my own salary as a school trustee, we will make sure that everybody gets food so they can get out of the cycle of poverty. Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Green. As school board trustee in Ward 1 and 5, I've been serving as a trustee for 15 years. And I'll tell you a little bit about me. When I first became a trustee and I went into school and see what was happening, seeing that student was going to school without breakfast, I take action. Here at Night Table, I have a number. My charity have a number. My church have a number. And many other other organizations, we have a number because we take action. Each year, my foundation spent $18,000 supporting breakfast program for kids that are going to school, because kids can't learn unless they have food in their stomach. Each year, I spend $5,000 out of my own pocket feeding kids, making sure they're going to school with breakfast in their stomach. And the last thing I want to say, I have 3 kids of my own. They have gone, 1 is still at home. But my house is always filled with children because I take them in because they are like me. who may have no home or no place to be. And that's who I am, and that's why I'm a trustee who takes action.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Raman Vasudev, and I'm a trustee candidate from Ward 2 and 6. I just had a question for all of you. Are we in 2018? Are we talking of hunger? Shame on us. Shame on us. Still we are talking of hunger. No, we have to eradicate it. We don't need words. We don't need commitments. We have to do something. Let's join hands and eradicate this as early as possible. Otherwise, our children will never forget. I'm sorry to say about it, but this is the demand of time. We have to act. Please act. Please help. Let's eradicate it. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Rhoda Taylor. I'm running for Public School Board Trustee for Wards 3 and 4. I've been a reporter in the Peel region since 2007. I was actually at the launch of the Peel Poverty Action Plan back in 2012. On top of that, I've been a longtime volunteer in the city of Brampton. Part of that does include food banks in Brampton, in Mississauga, and Toronto as well. I don't want to go into the personals of that. But one of the reasons why I chose to actually run for school trustee is because of a lack of resources. I was there at Turner Fenton, and there was one of the programs there, and I realized we had a lack of programming and a lack of a way of being able to get our students to work into the community to understand how to be able to use their skills. But then after that, of course, you research and you realize what you've dealt with growing up and everything else. My parents grew up under the low income line. So as a result, ever since I was young, I've been volunteering, especially when it comes down to food, especially when it comes down to food banks, and especially when it comes down to people that are not in the same privileges that I've been able to be in. And that's the reason why I'm running for school trustee.
My name is Teresa Guidolin, and I'm running for Wards 9 and 10. I had this big speech all lined up for you guys, but it looks like this is off that speech now. Okay, so I've been a Brampton resident for 25 years, and I've really seen this community grow. And I have a special love for this community because I love the diversity of who we are. I also work, fortunately for me, I was exposed to becoming a job developer for Ontario Works recipients as well as youth. And so what I've noticed is there's a lack of services and help for the young people in our community. So I'm a big youth advocate. So anything that I can do for young people in my community is something that I would do. So I'm more of a doer rather than a talker. So if you actually looked at my background, you will notice that I'm part of a lot of different volunteer organizations. I volunteer for Caravan, I volunteer for United Achievers. I'm just the kind of person that feel that if we want to do something for the community, we actually have to do it. And there definitely is a problem. And I think employment is something that's very important, and that we should be looking at that and teaching kids that in the future. Because whatever we do, this is not going to work unless we teach our kids how to find work, how to become successful, how to mentor them and back them up. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Jovi. I'm running for the School Board Trustee position in Ward 7-8. As a lifetime Bramptonian, your Brampton 2017 Volunteer of the Year, an Ontario paralegal. I've seen poverty across our city. But more importantly, as a school board trustee, we need to give you fair and equal representation. Right now, the school board trustee does not have the respect that it deserves. We take care of your children. We make sure that you, as the parents, get the respect that you need. If elected, the one thing that I would bring to the position is we need to make sure that there's accessibility. You need to be able to contact your trustee and know that they're there for you. They need to be accountable to you and to the actions that they hold. Right now, there's not too much accountability that's being done in our ward. And reliability. When you reach out to your trustee, they need to be there to ensure that you're getting the services that you require. As your trustee, I will be present, proactive, and engaged in the matters that are concerned to you. Too many times we're being told as parents, and I have 3 children of my own, is what we need. No, we're the parents. We're going to tell you what we need from you as a service. So as your trustee, I'll be there to listen to you and ensure that your message is being heard. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mahendra Gupta, and I'm running for City Council of Ward 9 and 10. About me, I have been in teaching in in Toronto, living in Brampton since last 20 years. And most of the people that I'm surprised, some people say rightfully that in 2018, in Canada, we are talking about food vouchers basically. That's ridiculous. Whereas the city councillors can make over $100,000 plus benefits for a part-time job. And here people are simply asking for food. Food should not be a privilege, should not be a right. Rather, living with dignity should be a right. And that's what most of the candidates are not addressing it. And all the time we keep on talking about these strategies. These strategies are there. Research has shown again and again that hungry stomach cannot lead to a good learning. And only learning can eradicate poverty. And that's why it's very important that we put things in education and resources with the kids so that they get educated properly and get rid of this hunger. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Garner Liverpool. I'm a parent. Part of the reason why I got into the campaign was poverty. I saw issues at the schools that became policies, and for example, paying for snacks, doing it electronically. If you have $5,000 in your bank account, there's not a problem. If you have multiple kids in your school, each student have to pay individually, so that means that's 2 transactions per day or per week if you wanted just a slice of pizza, which again, if you have money in your bank account, that does not affect you. But if you're a parent living with poverty, in poverty, that's a big issue. So that's where it started, looking at speaking to the principals and other issues in school around children and access. I've been a social activist all my life. I do run a men legal support network, helping men to get access to their children. But again, we live in a society that has enough for everyone, and there's no reason why a kid should be doing without. And I ask you to support me in hoping to get more changes done to get our kids all they need. Thanks.
Hello everyone, my name is O.J. Agogo, City Councilor Ward 2 and 6. Just as an individual, I have been in the community helping youth, working with the youth, and I have the privilege to work with all of them. And if you go on my website, on my Facebook, you see testimonial about me of how I brought out some boys from the streets. All we're talking about here is empowerment. It's unfortunate that in 2018 we're still talking about food in, here in Canada. This shouldn't be our topic to start. This shouldn't be the issue of discussion. Unfortunately, we are good at addressing the effects and not the causes. We should be discussing the causes of poverty or hunger in our community. This is why I'm running for city council, so that we are able to use the city resources to empower families so that hunger can be eliminated. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Harpreet Hansra. I'm the candidate for City Council in Wards 3 and 4. I'm the son of a seamstress. I'm the son of a man who is now a taxi driver in his retirement. I come from a family that's faced foreclosure at their home. I come from a family that has worked in community kitchens. I come from a family who has led community kitchens. Now, we're all here today to talk about poverty. I used to work in Regent Park in downtown Toronto, where every single day I was met with a challenge to have a limited amount of resources and have a lot of people who need those services. I've lived my whole life in Brampton in Wards 3 and 4 for over 32 years and raising my family here now as well. When I look across this room, I see great people, I see great talent. But what I do see is, I see a community in Brampton that is struggling with poverty when it does not need to struggle from poverty. We have had opportunities at City Council to make services available for people who are lower than the threshold of poverty. The LRT was one of them. These are not socioeconomic issues. These are issues that matter to people who do not have a lot of money to spend, can't afford a car. They can afford transit, just barely. And we've missed these opportunities. I'm running to be on City Council because I want to see services like that brought forward. I'm really mad when we have issues around illegal basement apartments. Illegal basement apartments exist because people can't afford their homes, and the people who rent them can't afford to buy a home. There needs to be a simplified process for these people to find housing, elect someone like me who understands the issues, who suffered from the issues, and there'll be results. The incumbents that are around the table today, it's easy, window dressing is easy, but it's important. We have to take action. We need to make the right decisions. Your friends may not like it, but you're not elected to make your friends happy. You're elected to protect the taxpayer and the people who struggle paying their taxes. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Daryl Romeo and I'm going to be running for City Council for Wards 1 and 5. As a candidate for City Council, I am one of 11 and I'm also the youngest at the age of 32. So I believe that as a candidate for City Council, we need someone on council who have actually experienced the issues that are taking place in this community. We're all here talking about poverty and homelessness and so forth, but to tell you the honest truth, as a candidate, I was actually homeless at one point. So I know exactly what the community and the homeless population are going through. Poverty. I am one of 5 children, and my mother right now, as a candidate, I have to work full-time, help my mom with money to take care of my little brothers and sisters, while she's also trying to work at the airport full-time to provide a roof over our brothers and sisters' head. So when we are talking about this, I totally get where we're coming from, and I believe now is not the time to be coming up with fancy solutions to addressing it. We need serious people on council who are actually going to take care of this and get our city back on track. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Yes, we heard from a lot of great people. Please take a moment to thank them all for coming from all over to join us tonight. We really appreciate all your thoughts. Yes, I'm not finished. Thank you very much. Please give them a great big hand of thanks for being here. And John Coulier also joined us. So I'm going to ask each one of you that signed those forms if you can just pass them on down. So it goes all the way to the end over there so that he can pick them up. And now we'll hear from John.
Thank you very much. Thank you for putting this event on to have this event. My name is John Sprovieri. I've been a councillor in Brampton for the last 30 years. I'm also a member of the Knights of Columbus, and I'm a volunteer that we raise funds to provide for this organization to prosper. I was born in Italy just after the war, and my parents had to leave because we were starving, and we had to come to Canada in order to make a living. I started working when I was 14 years old, part-time, to help my father pay the bills and my mother to buy the food. And I've been working ever since. I'm running for mayor after 30 years on council because I've seen so much waste at City Hall, at the province, and I want to stop the waste and put the money to good use so that people can be, we can help the people in need with the money that we will be saving. So thanks very much, and as I said, I'm running for mayor and I'm looking for your support. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more person. So this is Naresh Tharani. Is that right? Woo! All right.
Awesome.
So introduce yourself and tell us what we do.
Yeah, let me just go away from
Yes.
my speaker over there.
That'd be great.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Naresh Tharani. I'm standing for the position of City Councillor from Wards 9 and 10. And I am glad to be here today. And just this evening, I read something on Twitter, a very nice statement. Poverty does not just happen. Poverty is a result of a broken system, poor governance, and bad decisions. And when you look at the system that's going on right now over here, and most of the candidates over here, they seem to be rooting for the LRT. LRT is a $400 million project, all right? Nobody seems to be looking at alternate solutions. Go to my website, I have an alternate solution for the entire transit situation of Brampton for a quarter of that cost. That means I just saved you $300 million. $300 million that you can use, all of you can use to have these wonderful programs that you're all committing for poverty. Okay? So, if you really want to save your tax dollars, vote for Naresh Thorani. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, now the questions are gonna be addressed to city councilors. So we have